Thank you very much. It won't happen to us, and we've got it covered. I can't tell you how many times I've heard this over the last 35 years. These are the kids that have died in youth sports between 2016 and 2021, and let's remember them and see if we can learn from their stories on how to mitigate risk. Reported causes of death during youth sports participation, 2016 to 2021. Some background: the number, causes, and circumstances of death in organized sports has not been well elucidated in the context of data collection platforms, stakeholder education, and implementation of emergency action planning. The current methods of data surveillance likely underestimate youth sport deaths due to underreporting. And if we think about high schools with an athletic trainer, that's about 37% have a full-time athletic trainer, so you're likely to get much better data collection in that situation versus where most of youth sports in the youth level, meaning ages 5, 6, 7 to 13, that's played outside of the school system, and virtually none of those leagues have medical staff present, nor do they have any type of data collection methods. The purpose was to determine the number of and causes of death during youth sports participation. Reports of death during organized youth sports participation were prospectively identified via using Google Alert and other similar media and news platforms between 2016 and 2021. The variables were athlete age, athlete gender, sport, practice or games, reported cause of death. From 2016 to 2021, 146 deaths related to participation in youth athlete organized sports were reported. The most frequent cause of death was a cardiovascular event, followed by a heat-related event, followed by head and neck trauma. 35 deaths occurred at the age of 16, 26 at age 17. The youngest reported that I found was age 8. 131 deaths were in males, almost 90%. Football had the highest incidence of death, followed by basketball and soccer. And interestingly, there were over 18 unique sports, including physical education class, conditioning, and practice, where we frequently don't see medical staff, unfortunately, accounted for greater than 50% of the death incidence versus games, and games included physical education class. So the conclusions here, their deaths were most frequently cardiac related, occurred most often in males in their mid-teens, in football and during practices. These findings affirm the need for improved surveillance and emergency action planning, education, and implementation. These are just some of the charts on the statistics that we talked about. This, the top 5 states, Florida, New York, Texas, California, and Michigan. So you see they're kind of all over the place geographically. These are the sports: football, basketball, soccer, cross country, physical education, ice hockey, and track and field. Again, I can't emphasize enough the importance of understanding that this does occur, especially when talking to parents. This does occur during conditioning and practice, not just competition. And I like to divide out conditioning, which is a sport-specific practice, versus a strength and conditioning type of session, because they are different. So what are some action steps that we can take? I think the biggest word is communication. How can we, as healthcare providers, communicate with the head coaches, communicate with the administrators, communicate with the parents, so really everybody can be on the same page, because we're all behind the kids. So how can we communicate better to mitigate the risk? Certainly discussing an emergency action plan, having it practiced, having it posted, having it reviewed, having that pre-event safety huddle. Do we have everything we need for today's event? That could have certainly prevented most of the deaths in this study. Mandatory athletic trainers, can't say that enough. Required AEDs. Everybody knows what happened with Damar Hamlin, and hopefully we'll all learn from that, and we can advocate in youth sports to make sure there are AEDs present, within that 3 minutes, 90 seconds out, 90 seconds back. Ice baths and mandatory coach training, pre-participation physical examination. I think this is something we can get better as docs on the same page with the parents, because reviewing the history form with parents, I don't know about you, but almost no parent really truly looks closely at that history form and pays attention to the questions, and reviewing it kind of one by one with a parent gets a lot of aha moments. The electrocardiograms, that's a whole issue in and of itself, and what can we do in terms of a real-time system? Maybe an app, there are several out there that can be used. Strength and conditioning should not be used as punishment, and I guess I'll leave you, thankfully there were no deaths, but I don't know if everybody heard what happened in Texas. Happened to occur in the county I live in, which is just east of Dallas. We had between 50 and 20 kids rhabdomyolysis due to a push-up workout, which was 368 push-ups in about an hour. It was the first day after the Christmas break, and thankfully one of the parents was a physician who alerted other parents saying, that soreness your child is experiencing may be a little bit more than the DOMS that you're thinking about, the delayed onset muscle soreness. So I'm here representing Jordan McNair Foundation. Jordan McNair was an offensive lineman who died in 2018 from heat stroke, and that one didn't have to happen either. Thank you very much. It's a real privilege to be here. Thank you very much.
Next, we will have Dr. Mitchell Rao, whose fun fact is that he has run to date in 3 Ragnar relay races with his students.
Well, after 36 hours with students, it's not so much fun anymore in one